Hey everybody, should we do a double upload today? Why not? Because this is kind of a big deal. Because if you're not familiar, Jerry Seinfeld was sued over a car that he put up for auction, and as you know, he is a world-renowned kind of Porsche aficionado who has got some pretty deep pockets, so he can afford some of the weirder and rarer Porsches that are out there. And if you're not familiar, I'll give you the update, what's going on. As soon as I'll give you some background. So if you're not familiar, basically Seinfeld had what he claimed to be a one-of-one Porsche that he sold at auction for 1.54 million. I do believe he purchased it for 1.2 million. So he made a little bit of money off of it, only to have the buyer, whose name is Fika Frio, which is in the, according to this story, based in the Channel Islands, which I'm sure is not shady at all in the slightest, because, non-shady people hide their money in the island, whatever. I digress. Basically, what he's saying is the car that was sold to the person who bought it is not real. It's not what he's portraying it to be. It's something else, and we don't know exactly what that something else is. Unfortunately, all of the documents that I have seen do not enumerate exactly why they're suing them, other than to say that it is fake. Okay, there's your background. What the update is Seinfeld has turned around and sued the guy who sold it to him, basically the dealer, who is said that it's real. Now, in Seinfeld's defense, what he has said is that he went out and sent a inspector of his own, who was an expert in Porsches, and then concluded that it was real and that it was legitimate, and that at the end of it, they gave him a certificate of authenticity. So what he is doing is basically kicking the can down the road a little bit, saying, I did not know it was fake. It's not my fault. It's somebody else's fault. And they're going to get everybody, hopefully, in a courtroom together so they can sort it out. So here is exactly what is being said. They sued the California dealer on Classic Hunters on Monday, saying the company left the comedian stranded in a dispute over whether his Porsche is authentic or not. Okay. He is seeking unspecified damages. My guess would be is that they'll eat the cost of maybe the sale price or whatever. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he's going to sue for lawyer fees as well. That would be smart. This is my favorite quote of the whole bit, though. Here we go. Mr. Seinfeld, who is a successful comedian, does not need to supplement his income by building and selling counterfeit sports cars, which is probably true. It goes a long way to his character. I mean, he's got all that crazy Seinfeld TV show money, which, I think they made hundreds of millions of dollars total. I mean, what was it, $1 billion they sold it to Netflix or Hulu or Amazon, or I can't remember. But I know they made a boatload of money selling that into syndication before Netflix, Amazon, or Hulu became around. So it's not like Seinfeld is... he's not destitute. Let's just put it that way. So that was his lawyer saying that, and it also goes on to say the lawsuit owns one of the largest collections of Porsches and has never dealt with this California company before. They solicited him to purchase that vehicle, so they went to him. Okay, again, that doesn't really go to anything. The suit comes weeks after it was sued by another company, Fika Frio, in the islands. Again, totally not shady. This company didn't return messages for comment. Typical, probably good idea to stay silent. In the lawsuit, says he bought the car from them for 1.2 million in February of 13, and he relied on the company's certificate of authenticity. And then he sold the car in 2016 to this company, who then sued them earlier this month and wants to recover they spent on the sale and the cost it incurred. So probably the 10% commission, shipping of it, inspections, etc., etc. And according to this, the lawsuit said that they contacted European Collectibles to demand that it resolve the dispute, and they have not wanted to do so. So the original company, European Collectibles, they went there first, didn't get their money back, and then basically turned to their sights on Seinfeld and said, look, the company that built it for you is not going to deal with us. We want to deal with you, Seinfeld. So that's kind of where the lawsuit has started. Now, Seinfeld's been sued a number of times before, so he's not, unfamiliar with being sued. I know he was sued for his Cars and Coffees idea a couple times. One for somebody claimed that he stole the idea, and another one because they didn't pay the people enough. So that was a completely separate matters. But the lawsuit alleged that Seinfeld purchased was not the first time European Collectibles was alleged to have sold a restored Porsche that was alleged by a disgruntled collector to be inauthentic. That's not good. That is not a good sign. So right away, if that is true, then we certainly have an issue on our hands. So they want to reveal the extent to which European Collectibles deploys fraudulent practices in connection with its restoration and sale of classic cars. This is a problem. If you are in any way related or do business with these folks, you might want to start checking your receipts and your certificate of authenticities, because it's a high likelihood, at least from what they're saying, there could be issues. So their lawyer said in a statement that Seinfeld relied on the certificate of authenticity when he bought the car and sold it 3 years later. Lawyer states, Jerry has no liability in this matter, but he wants to do the right thing and is therefore bringing this action to hold European Collectibles accountable for its own certificate of authenticity and to allow the court to determine the just outcome. So, okay, fair enough. Basically, how I read this is that Seinfeld is essentially saying, look, I thought I did my due diligence. I trusted these people. They clearly lied to me. And, it's not my fault. I didn't purposefully deceive anybody. And they've got a point. He's got enough money and enough cars to where what's a couple $100,000 going to do to Seinfeld? It's the equivalent of buying a soda for most people. $1 is not going to kill anybody. So, $200,000 or $300,000 is, not much to Seinfeld in the way of his collection and overall kind of, overall assets. It's a drop in the bucket for him. So they've got a fair point to say it does no good to Mr. Seinfeld to go around and sell these, fraudulent fake cars. So, at least Seinfeld is saying, look, he's responded to it. He's publicly said, I was duped. Possibly other people have been duped as well. So we want to expose this to other people. So, it'll be interesting to see where this goes and see what happens to European Collectibles and the people who are involved with it. I don't know who's involved with it. It would be interesting to find out what happened and kind of, follow this as it progresses. But, it sounds like a bad deal all around for everybody involved, and that's really unfortunate. And I hate when this stuff happens, when people, somebody's getting duped here. Somebody is, and I don't know who's being duped, but somebody is. And whoever is the duper, onto the dupee. Good luck on your soul, man, because that stuff sticks around for a really, really long time. And at the end of the day, the only person you really got to answer to is yourself. And if you can't look at yourself in the mirror and say, you did everything as ethically and upstanding as possible, that's a rough one. So anyway, that's the update. Thanks a lot. If you haven't already, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think. And have a good one.